I'm Antonio Centeno, the founder of Real Men, Real Style. Today I'm going to be talking about understanding the law of diminishing returns when it applies to men's style. Okay, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way these videos come right to you. If you like this video, if you find it useful, I would appreciate it if you would like it down below. And I'm also going to link you to my free 47-page ebook. It's awesome. Make sure to grab it. Okay, so why am I talking about economic principles and men's style? I see this a lot, and let me start off with an example so you can understand the point I'm trying to make. Whenever I was, I think it was studying for the SATs or ACTs. Actually, I took both when I was in high school. But I remember there were two components to the SAT. There was the verbal and there was the math. And I did really well on the math. The first test, I did like some practice exam, and I didn't do too great on the verbal. And what I saw, I was in a group of people, is that a lot of people thought that, okay, the math I did really well on, but I can get an extra 10 points there if I put in this many hours. But I decided to focus on the verbal because the way I looked at it, my score was low enough that it would be easier for me to get a larger return for focusing on the verbal than it would be the math. I mean, just as you get closer to perfection, the law of diminishing returns tells us that the closer you get to perfection, the harder it is to get each and every little gain. The same is true in men's style. And by the way, I scored pretty well. But no, when it comes to men's style, it's the same thing. Oftentimes, guys get focused on these little things and they keep focusing in on, one particular aspect, and they totally miss the boat when it comes to other things. And so as you're making changes in your wardrobe, ensure that you're looking around and look for your weakest link and focus your efforts there. So if your clothing doesn't fit properly, instead of going out and trying to add more color or trying to add a wider variety or new styles, take the clothing that you have to a tailor and get it adjusted. You're going to get a much higher return for the investment than if you keep focusing in on these little areas that, the amount of return keeps going down. All right. One of the reasons I bring this up is I get a lot of men who seem to be really fixated on these small things. They'll be emailing me asking, what's better, pink or lavender? What's better, 2 or 3 button suits? When really, what we're talking about here is that stuff that probably last 10%. And I want you to go back and focus on the 90% fundamentals. I'm going to link you to some of my basic articles, but if you haven't perfected the fundamentals, if you haven't gotten those right, fit, fabric, style, then you focusing on that little bit of 10% is kind of like those kids, those people that are focusing on that, trying to up their score by a couple points here when they're totally missing the boat. And it would be for the amount of effort they put in here, they could easily knock up their score 50 points or 100 points over here and do really well. Okay, this has been Antonio Centeno with Real Men, Real Style. I'll see you in the comments. Bye-bye.